Dan from Window Property Group here, guys. We've got our third episode of the property podcast. I've got my co-host here, Onus. Little introduction, probably none needed.
Hey guys, Onus here from Window Property Group, and welcome to another episode of the Off the Sidelines podcast. We've got Cam here, Cam from Stone Real Estate, and he's going to give us a bit of insight into what he does as a real estate agent and essentially educate us on how to get the most out of the current property market in Sydney Southwest. So over to you, Cam, and I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Really appreciate you having me on. Like Onus said, my name's Cam Mitchell from Stone Property Group in Gregory Hills, Camden. Been in real estate now for about 5 years, so it's been an interesting ride. We've seen a lot of things happen in the Macarthur and Sydney markets as well. A lot of changes, obviously a pandemic that got thrown in the middle there, but plenty of financial things have happened. We've seen some booms, we've seen some slips, and it's been a good 5 years, man. Like to sort of train and learn the trade and really see the highs and the lows of the industry, and a declining and a growing market, and I guess the objections and all the things that you see along the way too. So yeah.
And Cam, so you're a bit of a southwestern Sydney local expert now, and a bit of a local name in the area, I hear. What do you do for fun?
Well, mate, besides real estate, obviously it's good fun, but I like to get out on the golf course, play a bit of golf, hang out with my partner and her daughter. So got a stepdaughter there, which is always fun, and just try and teach her how to ride bikes and roller skate and just enjoy the finer things. But I've always loved golf and a schooner, and I think it's a really good way to meet a clientele, especially for real estate. Everyone always jokes that real estate's all just golf and coffee, so it's definitely a good way to meet new clientele and get to interact with people outside of the professional sort of.
And you seem like a bit of a networker, so is that where you get a lot of your leads and deals from, the golf course or the pub? Or
not so much the pub, man, but yeah, like the golf course for sure. I think it can really show people just how genuine you are. Like I think a lot of people look at real estate agents and they think, oh, look at this guy or whatever it is, but you get them out into a real life scenario or just hanging out playing golf, and people will take you on face value a little bit more, and they'll realise that you're more than just a guy who wears a suit and takes phone numbers at an open home on Saturdays. So, it's good to give that realistic side to what we do, and just provide a bit of realism to the profession as well. So yeah, I do get a few referrals through golf, but mate, it's a lot of hard work. I think your first 5 years in the industry are the hardest. Obviously, you've got no database, you don't know anyone. Me especially, I didn't grow up here, so that puts me on the back foot compared to a lot of people that did grow up here. I've got to get out and do things, go out, talk to builders on building sites, and door knock, cold call, all these things that, if you see a skip bin when you're driving down the road, pull over, talk to them, say, hey, you guys thinking about making the move? And, always assume there's an opportunity there, whether they're buying or selling. Just hustle, man. Just hustle.
Yeah, you got to be really hungry, don't you? It's not just drive around with an AMG, nice suits and holidays. You got to be slugging it out 6-7 days a week, don't you?
Yeah, you've really got to be putting the hours in, man. Like if you're working 9 to 5, you're probably falling behind. Not saying that you have to be there till 8 o'clock every night and get in at 7 in the morning, because reality is, man, no one answers the phone till after 10. Yeah. Everyone's sort of getting ready for work, dropping the kids off at school, all that sort of thing. So it's and you got to be diverse, man. You can't just make phone calls and you can't just door knock. Like a good example, I was walking down the street in Minto the other day where I live, and I saw a guy's phone number on a building site. His company phone number. So I called him and spoke to him for a few minutes, and we got to chatting, and he said, yeah, man, come around, let's appraise it. And 2 days later, I'm climbing through a building site in chinos, and
oh wow,
oh beautiful.
Probably wasn't built for the job, but we climbing up scaffolds and all that sort of thing. I don't know if Fair Trading listen to this, but or Fair Work or whatever.
No, we'll cut that out.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. But yeah, it's just about trying to, I guess, realize an opportunity when it's there, and just trying to help people the best you can, whether they're buying or selling, man, doesn't really matter. As long as you can create a relationship with people, I think you'll go a long way. That's about as simple as it gets.
And that's the key. It's about the relationships and the networking and that sort of stuff, because you can't sell to people that don't trust you or want to buy from you. But have you got any really good success stories lately where you've helped anyone else or anything like that?
Well, man, yesterday, I won't take credit for this one, but Ryan, the guy that I work alongside, a good friend of his dad's actually got referred to us over in one of the acreage suburbs just outside of Camden. And they've got a little 3-bedroom house on an acre. They've got about 5 kids, need something a bit bigger. So we were sort of thinking it's probably around 1.6 to 1.7 in price, 1.6 million to 1.7 million. Advertised that on Monday, had a really great campaign, and today's Friday, we're already sold unconditionally, no cooling off period for 2.1.
Wow.
And like we went there. Well, Ryan went there, filmed it, showed them the result. They were happy with 1.7, man. Like, it was, it's a life changer, mate. Like $400,000 over what they were thinking. Now they can go buy something a little bit better than what they were maybe thinking at first. And yeah, man, like, they were crying. I think you see the emotion in people. Like, I think that's really cool. And that's probably the most recent one because it's so new and so fresh in my mind that, obviously that's not going to happen with every sale, but, it's always good to see. And $400,000, man, that's a life changer, like you really give people opportunity and really open the door to the next chapter of their life for sure. So
yeah, 100%. And you can do a lot with $400,000. I mean, I've got about 10-50 examples of what I'd be using $400,000 for.
Mate, there's a few Chinese meals in that one for sure.
And I just want to go a bit deeper as to why you do what you do, and you did mention that getting that, going above and beyond for a client and getting such an amazing result is life changing. Tell me a bit about that and what that was like for you and the emotion behind it.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think I do what I do because it's rewarding. You can really change people's lives. It's also fun. No two houses are the same, especially in Campbelltown and the Narellan area in the southwest. I think that we've seen a lot of growth recently, so a lot of people are starting to really explore their options, which is cool. But man, you just meet new people. Like for a guy like me from the bush, I probably couldn't get me to shut up if you tried. So, I just like talking to people, man. And then obviously you've got the freedom. You're not shackled to a desk in real estate. You can go sort of out and about. You can talk to people. You can do something like this, and you never know. But it's just fun, man. Like, and you do create these opportunities where you can create a really good scenario for someone, and it's rewarding, man. Like, it's not like one of those jobs where you're sitting there and you're thinking like, what am I contributing? Yeah. You can see it firsthand, either whether it be on a piece of paper or when someone puts a sold sticker up. Like, it's super cool, whether it's a first home or their last home.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So it's about flexibility for you, and being able to see the fruits of your labor too.
And, absolutely. Yeah.
And you're seeing those things straight away. Whereas if you were working a 9 to 5, for example, you wouldn't really be seeing these results until further down the track, perhaps.
Well, maybe, man. Like, it depends what industry you're in, but I think 9 to 5 wouldn't work for me. My life is sort of like organised chaos. I know where I'm going, and I sort of take a few detours on the way. But I don't think I'm ever. If anyone ever said to me like, you're sorted, I'm probably like, yeah, I think so. But I'd probably lose my head if it wasn't attached to my shoulders. So, it's an interesting one, and flexibility is a big one too, mate. Like, I'm doing my auctioneers course at the moment. So
awesome.
Training to be an auctioneer. So I'll actually get paid to yell at people, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
not a bad gig.
Yeah, not a bad gig, man. But again, that's another opportunity to help people get their house sold. But I need a bit of flexibility in having to do the training for that, because it's not like you can just sort of click a button and just pick it up wherever you want to. You have to go watch live auctions. You have to, sit down with accredited people and do the certain level of, accreditation that it takes. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And Cam, so obviously there's two sides to a transaction, to a sale, and you're getting fantastic results for your clients by, selling houses over asking. But what would be your advice to buyers right now in the marketplace that are struggling, that are looking for properties, that are, hitting these open houses every weekend for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months? What's your advice there as a top performing real estate agent in your market?
This is for buyers?
For buyers.
Yeah, mate, look, ring me, get in early. I'm a big believer in, unless the offer's actually absolutely out of this world, I always want to make sure we get one open home in on a Saturday. And I think for a buyer, it's really important, man. Like, especially if it's your first home, talk to your conveyancer. If you really like a home and it's within your budget, get your finance approved. Obviously, that's probably step one. But if you see something pop up in, let's say, Campbelltown, you really like it, try and get through there on a Tuesday, man. Like Tuesday or Wednesday. That way, you're 3 days ahead of everybody else. And if it's something you like, go hard. Like, you don't want to be missing out on it by $2 or $3 grand. You want to make sure that you've got a couple of days up your sleeve for your solicitor to review the contract, and you can maybe make a preliminary offer and sort of find out where the owner's at, and go from there. You've just got to you got to shop smart as well. You need to make sure you sort of know what you're looking for, and get advice where you can. Like a good conveyancer is worth their weight in gold. They'll definitely help you buy something really well. But at the end of the day, the market's still competitive, especially under 800, 900,000 in all of the Macarthur region. So it's definitely competitive out there. But yeah, my advice would be to get in early, and if you like it, just go hard, because 10 grand over 30 years isn't going to be much per week. It's probably going to be a coffee, maybe.
And in relation to the southwest Sydney market, like the Macarthur, Narelle, and the Campbelltown, all that sort of stuff, what would you say to the people that live out of the area? They have a bad perception of Campbelltown, where, teeth and shoes are optional. It's a low socio-demographics, that sort of stuff. It's affordable for a majority of people. People that want to come out there, what would you say to them?
Good question, man. Like, me, myself, when I first moved to this part of Sydney, I moved to Camden side of the line, so Gregory Hills, and there was always that stigma that, Camden's better than Campbelltown and that sort of thing. And, man, in parts it is, but, there's parts of Camden Council that aren't that great either. I think as a whole, the Macarthur region's a lot better than it used to be. Obviously, I can't speak on experience, but, man, come down to Campbelltown, go to Macarthur Square on a Saturday and just, check out, the diversity that we've got, which I think is really cool. Like, I mentioned before, I live in Minto, which is probably one of the most diverse suburbs in the southwest. You just got to come check it out, man. Like, it wouldn't be any worse than Bankstown or Auburn or anything like that. You know what I mean? And it's more affordable, man. It's on the commuter line. We've got train lines. We've got everything. And, there's plenty of jobs and booms and stuff down here. I can see that, even with infrastructure and the construction industry, there's going to be a lot more job opportunities coming up in the next few years with, the airports and new train lines and all that sort of stuff. Oran Park, getting a new train station. So, and you just got to come check it out and experience it. Like, there's nothing better than going down Camden on a Saturday, having a coffee, doing the bike track along the Nepean. Just come check it out, man. See if the lifestyle's for you. Like, I'd much rather hang out in Camden than Bankstown, but, that's just me. Sorry to all of our 2200 listeners.
2200, bro.
2200, brother. Yeah.
But, yeah, I found the same experience myself. Like, I haven't lived in Sydney my whole life. Come from the country as well. And the Macarthur Camden region was a bit of an eye-opener, but now that I've been out there myself, there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of diversity there, but predominantly it's affordable, and there's a lot of upcoming things. Like, you look at Macarthur Square, that shopping centre is massive. Narelle Town Centre is huge. The new airport, all the train stations they're building. Spring Farm has one of the biggest dog parks in southwest Sydney. There's just so much out here, but you don't know because it's not in the media. It's not on TV, it's not on Instagram, it's not on anything. But if you physically come out here and experience, you can see what this area has to offer to people.
Definitely, man. And you even go a little further, mate. I mean, you can look at your Menangles. You know, Mirvac have just done a massive subdivision right next to Menangle Station. And Wilton, you know, they've done Bingara Gorge, Wilton Greens. Again, super affordable land, super affordable housing compared to the rest of Sydney.
What are we talking about medium price point for Wilton right now?
Wilton medium price point at the moment is probably around 900, 950. Doesn't transact as highly, but, you know, it's an interesting one. Wilton's sort of cut up into two different sectors. You've got the township and then you've got Bingara Gorge, which is the golf course estate that was developed by, I think, Bradfield Property Group. I could be wrong, so I do apologise if that's incorrect. We can fact check that later. But it's 2 minutes to the M5 Hume motorway, so that's good. And all the houses down there are brand new. You've got the golf course. You've got everything that the community title sort of lends to you as well. So, and then you look at somewhere like Menangle, that train station's going in. It's going to be one stop south of Macarthur, so that's going to get added to the commuter line as well. So that's again another growth area, and Menangle's perfect, man. Like, it's 12 minutes to Campbelltown, 12 minutes to Camden, 12 minutes to Picton. Yeah, you're right in between three sort of centres. So
3 growth areas, yeah.
Yeah. So it's got to go somewhere.
Have you seen the market slow down at all this year or anything like that? Or where do you think it's at the moment?
I think in the Macarthur, we get probably about 600 properties come to market every month.
Wow.
Give or take, and that's, you know, anywhere between Glenfield and Yandera, and then across to sort of Silverdale. So that whole precinct, which is a lot of land, man. Like, there's a lot of property in there. Through lockdown last year, we were probably about half that, 300 a month through July, August, September, and the beginning of October. So what we're seeing now is, because we had a bit of a backlog in people that weren't coming to market because they just weren't 100% sure how long lockdown was going to go for, what was going to happen, all that sort of thing, we're starting to see more of those people that were supposed to come on the market in October hitting the market now. Yep. So we just got a bit more of a, I wouldn't say it's a backlog, but we've just got more stock starting to hit the market, which is good, man, because buyers are going to have a bit more choice, and, you know, good for them, because they went for, 2 years without having much choice, and it was a dogfight, so you can still get good prices for your sellers as well. But I think it's going to be a really interesting shift leading up to this election and what happens with interest rates this year. But I don't think that prices are going to fall off a cliff, mate. I think that we're just going to see a bit of a correction. And if anything, the properties that are priced well will still get these ridiculous results that we see. And again, that comes down to a bit the skill of your agent, but as well as that, it comes back to the trust that you have in your agent as well.
That's awesome. And great point about you not thinking that property prices will fall off a cliff. I don't think it has ever been the past 50 odd years. So it's a great factor to point out. And in saying that also, there is more choice right now.
Yeah.
So buyers would love that. And just in terms of that, there being more choice, would that affect transaction times?
As in, like, days on market?
Days on market. That's right.
It can, man. Yeah, it definitely can, for sure. Obviously, when there's more stock on the market, buyers have more choice. They don't make decisions overnight anymore. It might take 2 or 3 days for you to wrap up a deal. There might be, one Smith Street that buyer really wants to have a look at it. So it's going to come, again, to the skill of the agent and making sure that your days on market don't blow out, because the longer that a property stays on the market, we all know this, is, you think, oh, what's wrong with it? Or, and it comes back to that as well. So, but man, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I think a balanced market is really good for everybody. There's good results to be had, but there's also some good buys to be had as well. If you're a smart buyer and you've had a look around and you've been in the market for a little while, you'll know what's what and you'll know what's selling for what. So
yeah, and with more stock coming on, it gives a lot more options, and then it's also helping sellers have more people, buyers have more options, and I guess everyone's really winning. It's probably leveling out the playing field a bit more.
Yeah. Well, mate, what we went through the last 2 years with these lockdowns and COVID and stuff, that's not a normal market. You know, like things were selling in a day, you know, even when we could only do one inspection at a time, same thing. Like people were just still so desperate to buy. It was insane. But in saying that, man, like I actually really like a balanced market. You know, I think it really brings the cream of the crop to the top in terms of, you know, agents. Because in these boom markets, you see a lot of other agents come back into the industry, or they start to get a few more results and that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few years. And then, you know, the pattern that we do go through, I'm hoping to go through just some normal real estate patterns for the next few years. That'd be good. Yeah.
And how do you time manage with that? Because technically being an agent, you got to be available 24/7 if you want to pick up the phone and get the deal. So how do you manage that?
Yeah. Look, it's a reactive industry, man. Like, you know, like you said, you've got to be able to pick up the phone. And I think having a conversation with someone on a Sunday is more valuable than any other day of the week, because a lot of the time people are time poor these days. You know, the Sunday might be the only day they can actually have a chinwag with you. So, but in saying that, man, time management is important. You know, obviously I make sure that there's a certain time at night, you know, after dinner where I'm thinking, okay, that's enough. You know, you need to make sure that you do give some time to family and that sort of thing as well, and some time to your hobbies. So obviously every Wednesday, Dan, we go have a hit at X Golf. That starts at 7, usually about 6:30, hitting some chicken wings and a beer. But I think you usually show up about 6:59, man. So that's
about 7:02.
How about we ask you about your time management? What's going on there?
Don't have enough time for golf.
But yeah, mate, it is a reactive industry, and you know you've got to be a bit disciplined as well. Set some time for what we call prospecting, so trying to find new leads and generate new sellers and all that sort of thing. Have some time put aside to show homes, and you know you're always going to have pest and building reports to do, bank valuations, and then all the other, you know, filler stuff. You just got to make sure that you do set some time to get the actual job done, and do your high performing activities. Otherwise, you will fall behind.
All right, and high performing activities meaning prospecting, right? So is that you just simply picking up the phone, making a few calls a day, or?
Yeah. So Ryan and I like to set aside 2 45-minute call sessions. Be it good, be it bad. Talk to not as many people as we can. A lot of the time, it's quality over quantity. You know, you don't want to just be like, "Hey, you selling?" No, okay, bye. You know, you got nothing out of that conversation. 2 45-minute sessions a day. Put some time aside to respond to inquiries that you've got for properties. Set some time aside to maybe go for a door knock or go visit some builders on site or whatever it is. And then obviously you've got your market appraisals and other things in there as well, and then showing houses too. But I think the most important thing is to set your day around your 45-minute call sessions and go from there. Yeah.
And it seems like you service a lot of builders. Is that where the bulk of your business is coming from currently?
No, not anymore. It's more mums and dads. But when I started in real estate, the guys that I was working for back then, we dealt with a lot of high-profile builders, and the market was a little bit different back then as well. But
right.
You know, I think it's always pretty cool to go out on site and just have a chat to a builder and, you know, see what they're thinking about doing, because you never know who knows someone or knows what's
100%.
going on. But, you know, it is a big development area, the MacArthur. So I think you'd be missing an opportunity if you didn't go out onto building sites and try and chat to the guy who owns it, you know. So
yeah, it's getting out of control with the vacancy rates in the southwest. They need some more developments to come out there and build some more houses, so people don't have to be sleeping in their cars and stuff. So
insane, man. I know it's it was a real shortage of housing both in the rental and sale market over the last couple of years, and I think that's down to the development. And I don't know, you know, we saw a lot of builders not releasing a lot of land. Big developers weren't releasing as much, and more people were moving out to, you know, Thirlmere, Tarmore, Picton, Menangles, those sorts of things. But as we start to develop a bit more and get closer to that release date of the airport, obviously it's going to bring people out here, man, because
100%.
you got how many people run an airport? Like how many staff are you going to employ? Like 3,000 or something?
Thousands.
Exactly right.
So that's
And
like probably 700 houses, right? If you're going off 4 people per household, give or take, obviously. I mean, but yeah, I think we need to make sure that development keeps going, and obviously that the supply chain for builders at the moment is really tough because, you know, I don't know if everyone will be aware, but the cost of building's really gone up, man. I think it's like 30-40%. Timber is hard to get into Australia at the moment. You know, China's got us by the proverbials at the moment, you know, in terms of our supply chain, especially for raw materials for building homes. So it's becoming really tough for some small builders and even some bigger companies like I reckon Masterton and Eden Bray and some of these other bigger guys would really be struggling, man. Like, and their costs are obviously going up as well. So
Yeah, good time to get into the existing housing market and don't have to worry about any cost price increases and move straight in, ready, set, go.
yeah, definitely, yeah, for sure.
Or just don't use timber. use steel or something, you know. But I heard a great story with someone building with high tensile steel, and they could just hear their house like start making a dinging sound.
Well, like contracting
Yeah.
with the heat and stuff. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of funny. So I guess listeners, beware of building with steel. You know, you don't want your house creeping and crawling at night and making funny noises. So yeah.
No, well, you're actually right. My cousin, her house is built from steel, and she said in the winter, like the metal cools, and then it actually makes it creak through the night.
There you
And
go.
in summer, it heats up and then expands and then creaks again. So it doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, it's still making noise.
So Cam, any horror stories in terms of real estate? Just I guess maybe it's a buyer or it's a seller that, you know, that had an expectation in this current market, and they've kind of done something or said something. Anything you share just for entertainment purposes? Unless it's been smooth sailing, then
No, it hasn't been smooth. No. Well, you know, you try and make it as smooth as you can, mate. But obviously in the 2018 Royal Commission, which led into 2019 because we had the election as well, prices were dropping hard, man. Like, you know, you'd have a property under contract at 750. Buyer would pull the pin because they saw something similar for this, you know, 50 grand cheaper, and then 6 weeks later you sold for like 680, and you think, oh god, that was some tough times for some people, man. Especially in Campbelltown and Camden LGAs. You know, it's very, like you said earlier in the show, man, like a very low socio-economic area, and obviously it's probably starting to get a little better, but definitely the area was pinched a lot with COVID and stuff like that. But previous to that as well, a lot of people were trying to get out of what they had because we had the boom in 15, 16, and people were still sort of holding on to those prices in 2018, 19. And once the election came through and the Liberal won, and it was like, you know, it was the biggest upset in history. It was like, you know, if Muhammad Ali got knocked out by like a 6-year-old, you know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't happening. It wasn't on the cards at all. But yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, they were going to bring in negative gearing. It was going to ruin everything. You know, you'd only be able to negative gear a brand new home, which that would have been really tough for a lot of investors, and a lot of, you know, mums and dads that had maybe 1 or 2 investment properties would have started to feel the pinch a little. So, and then from that election result, the market started to climb again, and then obviously we had the little curious case of coronavirus. And that ebbed and flowed. But man, I think a couple of funny stories, like you know, you see some pretty funny stuff when you work in real estate, man. Like, people are always bringing their kids and stuff to houses. I remember one day I was in Bardia. I can't remember the exact address, and this young sort of I think they were, you know, a Middle Eastern family or something like that, had like 4 kids, and they're just running around the house, tearing around. So anyway, we were all out the back. We came back in. I said to mum and dad, are we done? Yeah, we're done. All good, no worries. Anyway, these kids were running in and out of the house, man. So I closed the back door, and little 5-year-old tears through the back living area and just whack straight into the sliding door, man,
Oh,
like the
wow.
glass sliding door, and like, holy Jesus, if he didn't bounce back 3 meters, I'm not here. Like,
Yeah. Oh wow.
and he just got
There
up
you
and
go.
shook it off, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you see some pretty funny stuff. I had a kid fall in a spa at a open house once, and his mum pulled him out. She was like, sucked in. So, yeah, you see some pretty random stuff, and like people, you know, when you're door knocking, people tell you to, you know, where to go and all that sort of thing. But yeah, no real horror stories as yet, mate. Like I know that a couple of guys that I have worked with have seen, like, you know, the unfortunate stuff where people have passed away in a house and all that sort of thing. So, but I haven't come across it. You know, not too regularly anyway. I hope that will never happen. But yeah, it'll it's an interesting industry, mate, and a lot of random things happen, and especially down in our neck of the woods in Campbelltown, and more affectionately known to some as Scrambletown. So
Scrambletown.
yeah, they're everywhere though, man. Like those people. So it's yeah, you'll see some stuff, but it doesn't always register in your mind because you just think, oh, yeah, it's just another Wednesday.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. No, that's awesome, and thanks for sharing. And I just want to get your insight on just real estate as a whole, and what that means to you, and if you're going to be in the market anytime soon. So real estate as a whole, meaning, like, you know, I feel like it's a lifestyle for some people, and if that's the case for you, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, good question, man. Like, so when I was a kid growing up in Orange, my dad and my pop owned a Richardson Ranch in town, and I was always hanging out at the office and probably didn't really think too much of it. I mean, I was like 6, 7, but as I went through, they sold that business, I think 2003. And then my dad started his own property management business. So I've always been around real estate. And my pop was actually a stock and station agent auctioneer as well. So got to see him in action a couple of times down at the sale yards and that sort of thing, which is pretty cool. But yeah, man, it's always been like sort of there. And when I left school and went through uni and stuff, I was working at golf courses, and I always saw these real estate agents, and they were always, you know, there during the week. And I was like, man, this real estate gig must be pretty easy.
Yeah.
How wrong I was.
What did you do at university, by the way?
Drank.
Oh, you just apart from drinking.
I did a degree in like business and sport
Okay.
management or something like that. That was a long time ago. But yeah, I always saw these, you know, working at the golf courses, I always saw that the real estate agents were always out. They would never play on a Saturday, but, like, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they were always out playing golf, man. And I was like, this is so good.
Yeah, the lifestyle. huh?
Yeah. So I got my certificate, and I was just like, I really want to do real estate. I think I'd be good at it. You know, I like having a conversation with people, and got my first gig at Ray White Camden in 2018. Yeah. And then worked as an assistant for a while, learnt the ropes, you know, learned how to talk to brokers and solicitors and, you know, handle objections of buyers and sellers. And then worked my way through and became my own sales agent for a little while there. And then only recently, about 6 weeks ago, moved over to Stone Real Estate Macarthur, which is based in Gregory Hills. So just, you know, working through and going through the motions. And I guess it's just always been a lifestyle, mate. Like, to come back to the original part of the question as well, it's just always been there, you know. And in terms of me being in the market, it's a good question. I think I'm aiming to buy something this year. Yeah, I think I'll just get like a little fixer-upper. Yeah, you know, just something around Raby, St Andrews, decent block, brick house, do a bit of work to it. Yeah, and then just live there for a little while. And if the market picks up again, then flog it off. Yeah. What about you? You looking to buy this year, or what's going on?
Oh, well, with myself, I actually am. So yeah, just waiting on tax time to come through, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna look to acquire something. Where, not too sure. Probably looking at the Adelaide market right now. Simply because there's a lot happening there, and there's a lot of internal migration there, Adelaide and Brisbane.
Yeah, right. A lot of people like from Australia already moving to Adelaide.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
cool.
so you've got your people from Sydney and Melbourne. They're just simply sick of living in a shoebox, right? Inner city apartments, and they're relocating to quarter acre blocks in Brisbane and Adelaide at affordable prices. So there's a massive movement in Adelaide right now, and it's quite competitive too to actually buy into. So so we've got a few industry connections out there. In terms of development too, you can do a lot in Adelaide. You're not as restricted as other areas. So yeah, man.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'd be looking at Adelaide very, very, very closely.
All right, guys, we're going to have to wrap this up. It's, I know we could sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours, especially Cam. So I think we better wrap this one up. Thanks for coming down, Cam. It was really good to have you on the show. And anyone who's in the southwest area looking to sell their house, hit up Cam from Stone Real Estate.
100%.
And your boy will look after you. And thanks, Onus, for helping me host this today. And stay tuned for the next episode, guys.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Thanks, Cam.
Thank you.
Done.